This is Found Revenue with Tom Collins.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Collins, and you are listening to the Found Revenue podcast. Today I have a special guest, a longtime friend and business associate of mine. His name is Dave Espino. And Dave came around and got put on the map when he was on a very, very popular, long-lasting infomercial about how to sell eBay when eBay marketing was the hottest thing on the planet. And the guys that he worked with in my company, PMI, partnered together, and we did a ton of business together. And so I've gotten to know Dave on a personal level, on a business level. We've interacted, over it's been more than a decade that we've kept in touch and been friends. And so today's interview is just awesome. We talked about, some of the formative things where Dave learned some of the skills that he still uses today to make sales, to make his business. And really, you can tell that those were some of the things that set him apart when it was time to choose among, I don't know how many dozens or hundreds of people submitted and applied to be the face on the infomercial, the eBay infomercial he was on. And he went for it, got it. He was clearly the talented guy. We talk about found revenue in his business. And I'll tell you, Dave's really a content producer. He's a course producer. And so he acquires leads and acquires customers in a way that a lot of funnel people, I think, miss. And we talk about that in detail. And how the cool thing about this is how he's leveraged one thing to another and how he's getting paid when new customers come in. And I don't know that he's spent more than $20 in the last several years on cold traffic or anything like that. And yet he's doing this, 7-figure growth of his business with partners and relationships and ways he goes about it. I love that we're talking about this with found revenue because there are a lot of you out there that, again, are in funnelology only. And this should expand your mind, should expand some opportunities that are probably right under your nose. And with Dave, we get to talk about it. For those of you who don't know him, he's an entrepreneur whose passion is helping other entrepreneurs. And Dave's entry into the world of business began at the age of 7 when his parents started a weekend business selling at Southern California flea markets. He's a lifelong entrepreneur. He's been in a variety of businesses since then, from real estate investing to marketing mutual funds, mortgage loans, to starting a variety of online successful businesses. He really is that serial entrepreneur. He's most famous for the eBay infomercial, which ran for 11 years. And through that, Dave sold over $140 million worth of his products, training products, the coaching that we sold in his name. And he's put his hard-won marketing knowledge and experience into more than 50 online courses and several books. He actually currently has over 350,000 students in 185 countries around the world. Without any further ado, here's Dave Espino. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's Tom Collins, Found Revenue Podcast. Just introduce you to Dave Espino, my man. Dave, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Tom. It's awesome to be here.
Oh man, I'm so excited for today. There's so many people wonder and they ask questions like, what was it like for you guys to work together? And the thing I love is, it's been more than 2 or 3 years, but I was in a mastermind group in Southern California, and this was after my time at PMI, and I think your show was just on its last legs, maybe the last year of run, or maybe it was just ending. And you came down and met us at dinner, and some of these very successful internet marketing guys were like, is that Dave Espino? And I just got chills going, yes! And they were like, that guy helped me in my career, right? And I was like, you know what? It was just very validating of all of the just impact you've had on so many lives in so many ways. And I want to talk about that story because I know, people don't understand the infomercial world that much and that well. And most of the things they think of are the really aggressive, greedy, ego-driven guys. And you're the exact opposite of that guy, right? And we could go into, all kinds of things, but I want to start with the Dave Espino journey, because with Found Revenue, obviously the things we're going to talk about are finding the hidden profits that are already existing in your business, right? You've done 90% of the work, and with a couple of clicks and some tweaks in alignment, you can untap, this multiples of profit and revenue and crazy new opportunities. And you've experienced this in ways similar in internet marketing. You did the things that you see and read and follow, and you still are fully engaged in the community. But at the same time, you've had some unique experiences that only a few have had, right? And so I want to talk about kind of the before the infomercial, what you were doing, how and where you got the entrepreneurial bug. And let's talk about the show and some of the cool experiences there. And then the what's Dave doing now type of thing, because I think if you're tuned into this, if you're doing 7 or 8 figures, we're going to talk about some really cool stuff that hopefully will get your attention and you'll be able to add some tweaks. If you're just starting out, or if you're making a little money, dabbling on the side, or you're making 5 figures going, how do I go from here? We're going to talk specifically to you and show you some of the path of how Dave did it, how people we taught together, our 2 companies taught and help people, as well as, some of the cool things we did along the way that apply to anybody, whether you're starting out or you're doing 8 figures. And I said, I don't always like to throw numbers out. Dave, one of the cool things is we did 9 figures in 7 years with you guys, right? Well, I think the number we throw around is like 140 million.
Yeah. Actually, and I found that out from you, Tom, because so I've been using it ever since.
Yeah, what I would say is there were a couple of ramp up years, and then there were a couple, a core set of years we did 20 million in just the coaching sales per year, not counting all of the revenue that Tim and Steven did on the front end. So, sometimes that was just as much. So it could easily be more. And then we had Auction Max, the continuity program, and some of the other back end revenue pieces. So I think we're really safe with that 140 number, which, blows your mind, because, to do a 6-figure funnel is a cool thing. But the thing that I tell people all the time is the numbers, whether you add a 0 or take away a 0, a lot of the things are very, very similar. Just your mindset is different. The approach to it is different, even though the flow a lot of times can be a little similar, as long as you're matching with the market. So let's talk about Dave before, right? Dave Espino, before he hit the airwaves and went big on TV. Give us some of the story, man. Where did you come from, dude?
Sure. How many hours do you have, Tom? It's funny because I started when I was 7. My parents started a flea market business here in Southern California. We're there in Southern California. And I was a little entrepreneur kid. I didn't know any different. I just, my parents were buying and selling stuff. I learned how to buy and sell stuff. And I learned so many things about business, about negotiation, about people, about reading people. From a very young age, it was really amazing. And then I'm going to fast forward really quick to when I got involved in the internet.
Yeah.
And
which was only a couple of years later, by the way, right?
Yeah, it was quite a few years later. But between that 7-year age and the internet, I got involved in real estate investing. I was selling mutual funds and mortgage loans. And I was really always an entrepreneur. I always did something entrepreneurial. Yeah. In fact, probably if I were to add up all the years that I worked for someone else, I would say it's probably been about 8 or 9 years of my life. That's awesome. So 40 plus of those years have been entrepreneur.
Yeah, fantastic, right?
So absolutely, I love it. And the beginning, really, the very beginning for me was when I got excited about eBay. I used to collect these little vintage Hot Wheels cars from the 60s. Really, some of them are really valuable now. In fact, I sold one the other day for $4,900.
Is that right? Wow.
Vintage Hot Wheels.
Still going, man.
Happen to be super rare. But anyway, so I was collecting these Hot Wheels cars, And I was a dealer. I would buy collections from people, and I would sell them in a collectible toy magazine called Toy Shop.
Oh, cool.
And so what you would do is just list your cars there, and people would call you up and say, I want that one, I want that one. Great, send me a money order, blah, blah, blah. And then this word eBay. I'm like, what is this? So I asked my friend Joe, I go, hey, do you know this eBay thing? And he says, yeah, I'll show you. Come over to my office. So I went over to his office because he had this thing called the internet. Okay. This is
right. Not a lot of people have the internet.
98-ish. And, you know, we had a computer at home, but we just used it for bookkeeping and stuff like that. We weren't even connected to the internet. So my friend shows me eBay, and he shows me rows and rows and rows of vintage Hot Wheels cars. The cars that I thought were incredibly difficult to find, at least they were for me. All of a sudden, I see this whole new world open up to me in my eyes. Just like angels were singing, you know, bells were ringing. I was like, wow, this is it. Suddenly I realized I could sell to anybody in the whole world here. And whereas at the flea market, you know, I could sell to whoever attended the flea market. Here, I could sell to anyone in the world. So it just blew my mind. And immediately I sold one Hot Wheels car for $870 and used that money to buy a computer.
Oh, wow.
To get on the internet.
Yeah.
And so that was my seed money. And man, from that moment, I started doing $1,000 a week, $1,200 a week, $1,500 a week in sales on eBay, just right out the gate. I mean, because I already knew how to get my inventory. I had that part down. The part that I didn't have was I was selling in these magazines, and there was all this lag time between when you send in your ad and they print it in the magazine and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Suddenly, man, I'm accelerated. I'm like, list it today. It ends in 7 days. I get my money. You know, and back then it wasn't PayPal. It was money orders. Send me a money order. You know,
on eBay was money orders even, right? Pre PayPal. So if you welcome to the Stone Ages. Yeah, I think brontosauruses were just going extinct at the time, right? I remember those days. Yeah,
it was funny. I was talking to a PayPal rep earlier, and I was throwing my weight around because there was something that they had done wrong or whatever. And I said, man, I'm one of the longest PayPal users, you know, ever. And he looked and he goes, wow, you are one of you've been here almost
one of the original. Yeah. That's awesome.
Anyway, I got really fired up about eBay, and I just got very excited about the e-commerce world. And very soon I started seeing that I could help people with what I knew. One of the first things I learned how to do was I learned how to build an email list of my eBay customers.
Huge.
eBay did not and does not allow this.
Okay? Right.
But I learned a cool, sneaky, you know, legitimate way to build an email list of my eBay customers. So then what happened was I had developed this list of, I think, 1,600 collectors that had bought from me in the past. Instead of listing the cars on eBay and having to pay eBay fees and PayPal fees, I listed them on my website, sent them all an email and said, go get them.
That's awesome.
Suddenly, within 48 hours, I was sold out of my Hot Wheels cars. So I had gone from listing my cars in a magazine with about a month lag to listing my cars on eBay with a week lag to listing my cars on my website with email marketing to 24 hours to 48 hours lag. And I was turning my money like that, super fast. So I decided, you know what, this can help a lot of eBay sellers. So I wrote an ebook called Beyond eBay, outlining basically that idea of how to use email marketing with your eBay customers.
Which is world famous in my world. Yeah.
And so from that, I just went to town marketing the book by doing a lot of article writing. Back then, this was a very good way to drive traffic because you write articles, and at the end of the article, you have a little link to your website, and people go to your site, they buy your book, and so on. So back then, I had developed a little funnel. The simple funnel was, you know, get a free excerpt of Dave's book, Beyond eBay. Click here. They go there. They come to my landing page, which is my sales page, and they opt in to get the ebook, the excerpt. But if they continue reading, they can buy the book. They click on the button to buy the book. It takes them to a second page, which shows them 3 options. Okay. One for $22.95, one for $49.95, one for $69.95. Basically, two upsells. And so I found that a lot of people were buying the $49.95 and the $69.95. And in fact, more people were buying the $69.95 than the middle one.
Really?
$49.95. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just packed it with value. I had another ebook in there. I had a couple private label rights ebooks in there, and just packed it. Oh, I even included like 1 hour of phone consultation.
Nice.
$69.95.
Nice. Okay.
And nobody ever really took me up on that, which I thought was interesting and cool.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Because
so that ebook,
yeah,
with all the affiliate links that I had inside the ebook, like my recommended resources were all affiliate links, plus the upsells, plus the marketing I was doing, was bringing in $3,000 a month from one ebook.
Now, and I want to caveat that this is when no one bought anything on the internet. Right. This was the very, very beginning of the internet, and most people still didn't have a connection. They still used money orders, right? PayPal was around, but this was like the fledgling, like the end of the 90s, early 2000s. And we had an experience, and you and I have shared this. One of the first ebooks I sold, we sold it without a shopping cart, and nobody cared, right? We were taking secure credit card information through a text file, but there was no way to hack it because there were no real hackers out there, right? But in today's world, again, it's so mind-blowing. So $3,000 a month from Beyond eBay. And this was just like an added new revenue stream that you picked up just because. So now you have two email lists, right? You have your Hot Wheels email list. Now you have this Beyond eBay email list.
Yeah. And by the way, I learned a lot of this stuff from Corey Rudel. Rudel was one of the kind of the grandfathers of internet marketing. Young Canadian guy who spoke at the speed of light. He had to try to listen to hear what he was saying. And he had this great course. Forget the name of it. Something like Insider Secrets. That's what it was. Insider Secrets to Marketing Your Business on the Internet.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of that stuff from that. So one of the things I read in one of his books was always offer a money order or check option, because a lot of people don't trust the internet, and you'll increase your sales that way. So I did that. I on at the bottom of my sales letter, right below the buy button, I said, would you rather send a check or money order?
Right.
Send it to, and I had my address on.
Now that link says Venmo me, right? Yeah.
and literally I had checks and money orders, and it was so cool because I was like, wow, somebody somehow in this cosmos of the internet landed on my page, read my sales letter. To me, this was magic. Okay. They read my sales letter. So somehow I was able to persuade them to buy, and not only to buy, but actually to go to the dang post office, get a stamp, get an envelope, write out a check, and send me money.
Yeah. Talk about a committed buyer, right?
I thought this was miraculous. I thought, man, this internet marketing stuff. Yeah. It's like, this internet stuff works. It's so awesome. And I think that if I hadn't had that early proof of concept, I don't know if I would have, continued. Maybe I would have gone on to some other business, or something. But that just got me so excited, because every morning I would wake up and I'd rush to my email and see how many sales came in while I slept. And I loved it. So I'm doing this. I'm going to town. I'm writing all these articles. And one day I get an email from someone that says, are you an affiliate it said, are you affiliated with Corey Rudel? And I said, I'm not affiliated with him, but I am an affiliate of his. Why do you ask? And it turned out it was Tim.
Yeah.
Sending me an email. I thought it was a kind of a rude way to introduce themselves, but turned out to be a really good business relationship in the long run.
Yeah,
after I'd sent him that email, I checked his signature, and I found out that they were an infomercial company. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what this is all about. So he came back to me and he said, we're going to be doing an infomercial about how to sell on eBay. We found you on our radar, blah, blah, blah. I would like to talk to you about it. And I replied with the subject line said, I'm the person you're looking for. Now, I know it's kind of ballsy, but I also knew the landscape of who else was out there in the eBay, the how-to eBay world. And I knew my background experience of being an entrepreneur all my life. And I always have had a passion to help entrepreneurs. So I felt like those three things qualified me well enough to go, I'm the guy, Now, I didn't know if I was the guy. I had never been on an I've never been
just going for it. Camera, exactly.
I had no idea what I was getting into. Really, literally had no idea, because fast forward to when we actually signed the agreement and they sent me to Utah for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me to the coaching company, which you worked at. And that's when I kind of started getting a sense of how big this thing was, because I walked into these offices and there's rows and rows and rows of desks with actual, human beings working at these desks. And they're like, okay, this is our sales department. These guys are the ones that are selling the coaching for your infomercial. I'm like, for my infomercial? Really?
Yeah.
I was just blown away. And then we walk in another room with rows and rows of desks. These rows were much quieter. Okay. And these are the coaches.
They smell better too.
They smell better. These are the coaches, and these guys are the guys that are helping your students, your future students, this and that. And I got to meet some of the higher ups in the company, and I got to meet you, and I got to meet all these people. I was like, wow, I had no idea this was so big. Had I known it was that big, I would have negotiated better on that agreement.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. If I can comment on that from our perspective, Tim and Steven had this infomercial company, and they'd had a previous eBay commercial partnership. And one of the cool things about it is they came to us and they said, hey, we found this guy who is awesome because he's the real deal. He's so believable. And one of the things in selling opportunity is people, not only do they have to believe that the thing the method you're selling them is possible, they have to believe that they can do it just like the person they're seeing on TV can do it, right? And so you were literally one of those breakthrough guys that wasn't the used car salesman yelling and screaming and hawking the goods. You were just like, hey, man, look how cool this is. And the believability, because it was real, and the trust, because it was real, came through. And I think I just want to point this out, because a lot of marketers miss this, because the sales pitch is just the sales pitch, but the substance to the sales pitch is who you are, how trustworthy you are, how you can connect, obviously, with who's presenting and selling. And we saw an immediate increase in our sales, in our, not only even our coaching retention, meaning not having people ask for refunds, but the coaching success, because people were willing to try because they believed they could do it, because they believed you. And to me, that's something we've talked about, of how powerful that is, that you're just like, this is what I do, and here's how you do it. And yet you created this ripple effect of so many people, and we always talked about that the first level was make some money so you believe. Right? Make your first $20, make your first $100, so you go, oh, this could work if I pursued it, right? And then let's make a car payment amount of money. And once they did that, they would never quit, and they would go on to bigger and better things. And those were the first two steps that we really focused on, getting people there. And your kit was so easy to get people there. Your training was because you did it, and you're like, hey, here's just how you do it. You didn't require the circus coming to town to sell it. And it was just fascinating talking to Tim and Steven, the change in the psychology. And it was a new thing in infomercial space, right? So I don't know how much of that you knew, but it was very, very new. And it was fairly risky for them to try, the average guy instead of the used car salesman, hawkman, type of personality. We did more dollars per lead. We did more, better retention rate, all of the coaching upsells, the auction max that we did. The stick rate on the continuity program was out of this world, just because we plugged in 2 or 3 things just exactly right. But it was all started with, you were the guy that they could trust, and you delivered what they were trusting in, right?
It's exciting to hear that from your point of view, because I think there's a lot to that, because we got a lot of feedback from our customers that said, either I've never bought anything on an infomercial, but Dave, you look so genuine that I had to buy it, or I believed you. And I think there's a lot to that. I think that too often, and I've been around long enough now in the internet marketing world to see so many things that are fake, to try to give some kind of sense of success or whatever, when really what people want to know is, like you said, do I believe that guy, and can I do this? Can I see myself doing it?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
really what they want to know. They don't want to know that somebody's driving around a Lamborghini or rented one. They just want to know, can I do this? And I really believe that our infomercials conveyed a lot of encouragement and a lot of hope. And that's what I tried to do whenever I was working with the scripting of the infomercial, was to convey as much encouragement and hope as I thought. Because I think, man, people are beat up at their jobs every day. They're beat up by their bosses. They're beat up by their spouses. They're beat up by everybody, right? They just want a little bit of hope to know that they can do it. And if you're promoting something that's real, which this was completely real, completely awesome, I had proven it, then you're giving them real hope. You know, some guy coined the term hopium dealers.
Hopium dealers. Oh,
I've never heard that term before, but there's a lot of hopium dealers out there in the internet marketing world. And, you know, I think if anything, like you said, the reason one of the reasons the show was successful, they saw a real guy up there.
The other thing that's from a marketing perspective of a conversion process, right, was the infomercial before you about eBay was all about the kit, right? And your show integrated what you were selling on the show, and also you guys came in and filmed in our offices, right, showing the coaches, and you referenced the coaches. So when the outbound phone call came, the people, instead of going, oh, you're just another telemarketer, right, they went, oh, are you the guys that were on the show? Yeah. Oh, and just people loved it, right? So being a call center guy, and I ran the coaching department at the time, for those of you who don't know, and I worked very, very closely with the sales guys, because I became the VP of business development, because that's what I did, really, was the integration, the business development, all of the extend the product line and those things. But the sales guys were just thrilled when we shot it was version 2.0, and Tim and you guys came into the offices, and we had ugly gray cubes. It's not like we had this pretty office set up, but we were just transparent and real, again, ahead of our time, and give Tim and Stephen the credit for coming up with that idea. But just showing it and just planting the seeds, people took that. It was almost a celebrity type moment when they had the opportunity, the good luck to talk to one of our sales guys in a gray cube. They're like, oh, you're one of Dave's guys. Oh, wow, that is so awesome. And, we really, again, unlike 90% of the rest of our industry, or 80% or whatever the number is, we were really intent on delivering the goods. And we had this ideal that we knew we never would get to, where we thought, if we make everything good enough, everybody will use it. And obviously we got to the point where anyone who wants to can and will. And the success stories that came out of it were phenomenal that way, because people were looking for the hope, right? I just have to comment on this, because I had people call me as the coaching director saying, I love or hate, So I had all of these very deep conversations with people who went through your program. And one of the biggest impacts to me, and I've been excited because I've wanted to share this, and I don't know if I've shared this with you actually, but the idea when we sell a package, and there's apathy on it, there's a hard side to it, and then there's this, what people call the unobtainable ideal, right? Where, well, not everyone's going to use it. Not everyone's going to use it like they should. Not everyone's going to get everything out of it. But what I found was interesting is there were more than I was comfortable with, but you think it pays off in the future financially, right? Where people would go sell the first thing and get the $20 or $100, or they would make a couple $100 a month and they would quit. But you go, why are you quitting? You just made it work. And you're like, oh, I don't really like doing this. I just had to find a way to believe in myself. Or when I did this, it gave me that hope and confidence. And I had people who got better jobs. They, went back to school. I think what they found was this hope, like you said, the hopium, and it gave them the confidence to try the thing they really wanted to try in life, right? I want to go back to school and be a nurse, or because I have internet skills, I had a woman in Florida. This was the most touching one for me. There was a woman in Florida. She's making $8 an hour. She lives in a rental. She has 5 kids, and it's not working, right? And so, but she bought the program, and she was very much on the fringe of, should this person be buying a coaching program for a few $1,000s? And it was just like, okay, so we spent a lot of extra time with her. Well, she came back after the first month, and we talked, and the second month, the third month we had a conversation. She goes, guess what? I just got a big, huge promotion at my office because I'm the only one who knows the internet and computers because of what I've learned with you. She got like a double your pay raise. And then, we were kind of small as an organization at the time. And so this was coming up in our team leader meetings. And we had some real estate coaches, obviously fulfilling real estate training for Russ and Dean and those guys. And our real estate coaches said, well, hey, can we help her? There's a bunch of really easy to find real estate in her area. Well, what happened was she actually made a proposal to the landlord that she was renting from and said, hey, can I buy your house on a lease option? And the landlord said, yeah, I've been wanting to get rid of this dump forever. And she was like, but I love this place. Can I buy it? So this really cool thing. So she worked, the real estate coaches got on. We didn't charge her more money. We were just like, this is so cool. Let's just help out any way we can. The real estate coaches helped her figure out the lease options. So she was now an owner. Her monthly payment on the lease option and eventually the mortgage was half what her rent was. I know we're supposed to talk about found revenue and ninja tactics and all that, but I just loved those stories that they came at you sideways because you were so focused on, we're teaching you this curriculum, we want you to do this thing, and you get an ROI from it. It was kind of analytical scientific, right? You had the heart and emotion side to it, and people were doing all kinds of things.
Actually, that brings us back around to the day when you invited me to the mastermind.
Yeah.
And I got to meet all these guys who were really successful internet marketers, e-commerce guys.
They're crushing it.
And I'm sitting there in awe that these guys, number one, know who I am. Your course is what got me started in the internet marketing. Now I'm doing 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever. I was just so humbled and so awestruck by that because during the infomercial, I did not hear a lot of these stories, and I had very little actual contact with my students, other than when we went to film the testimonials for the next year's show.
Yeah.
And that's when I really got a really good dose of awesomeness, hearing the success stories and hearing the people. I mean, sometimes I was in tears just hearing their story and how, the product changed their life and everything. It was amazing. Yeah. But man, this is a lot of this is new to me. So it's really exciting to hear that even if we went sideways helping them, to hear that we made a difference in people's lives like that is really awesome.
Yeah. No, hopium is the real deal, right? It can change the fabric of a person and the things they do, the things they're willing to try. And I always believe that we were meeting people at an intersection in their lives, and there was a very short window where we could make some impact. And what they did with it, we didn't know, but we did know that people who were intent and pursued it, there was always positive outcomes that came from it. So let's fast forward to now. What are you doing now? And you and I've had some conversations. So the whole topic is found revenue, right? So you've tapped into some things where you started doing some courses and some trainings, and there's been some more spillover effect financially for you and some opportunities for you. You have your list, or you have your YouTube. So catch us up, man.
Not all entrepreneur curves go like this, but when the infomercial ran its course, things were starting to tighten up in the credit world. There was less and less credit, therefore less and less people were able to buy coaching, which was kind of the engine that ran the whole machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it started to go like this, and then around 2008, when the recession hit, everything hit the fan, it just kind of crashed. And it ended up that we went for another couple of years beyond that, and just kind of lagging along, trying to make it work, trying to get it back up and all that. But market conditions had just changed so much,
Yeah.
And now it's interesting to look back and talk to every entrepreneur that I've met and see that we all went through some really rough times during that. So I was faced with a very interesting dilemma. The dilemma was, what does an unemployed infomercial star do next? I had no idea.
You're an astronaut, right? What does an astronaut do after they get back from the moon? Tony Robbins tells that story, right? What do you do now? I mean,
exactly. And so the first thing I did was, during all that, the whole time of the infomercial, I had been doing internet marketing. I had been creating websites, a lot of websites in the pet-related niche, like dogs, cats, stuff like that. And I had developed a network of about 30 websites. So I was and each of those sites was marketing an information product. And I had bought this really big website called Planet Pets, and that was a monetization scheme that was doing really well with affiliate marketing and all kinds of things. So I really immersed myself in the world of internet marketing, digital marketing. I've loved it from the minute I saw it, from the minute that I saw the Corey Rudel stuff. I've loved the idea of making money on the internet. So the very first thing I did was I jumped into, this was kind of like triage, emergency mode, okay? I jumped into working with local businesses, helping them with their internet marketing. It was like the easiest path to the cash, in my opinion, because I knew I could do the service. I knew I could help them. I already had my own web designer, so we set about doing that. And in really, I think it was my first month, I got right back up, income-wise, and I started, and it wasn't, let me tell you, it was no easy feat. It was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Because I got into being an entrepreneur to not have a boss, and suddenly I had 10 bosses. And trying to explain to them, that internet marketing is not an exact science, and there's a lot of competition, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, but I went through this phase where I was working with local business owners and helping them. And it's interesting now because just the other day I was telling my wife, I got this Google report, and it showed how many calls a CPA that I'd worked with got that month. I think it was like 60 calls. That work that I did for these businesses, it's very exciting to see that it's still benefiting them and it's still helping them, and that kind of thing. So I jumped into that, and all along I had kind of like, I had been praying for an opportunity similar to what I'd had in the infomercial, but not an infomercial, praying for an opportunity to do what I do best, which in my opinion is to teach.
Yes, absolutely.
Teach marketing, to teach internet marketing, to teach digital marketing stuff that I had actually experienced. I don't believe in teaching things that I haven't actually done. Okay, that's one kind of rule of authenticity in my book. And we're in a business, Tom, where
fake it till you make it, man.
Exactly. So I was interviewing a guy for my Infopreneur Mastery program, and he goes, well, now there's so many ways to sell your information products. There's things like Udemy and this and that name Udemy stuck in my head, and I was like, what is that? So after I had interviewed him, I went and checked out Udemy, and I found out basically it was an online course marketplace. Wait a minute, I can create courses here, which I had already learned how to do very easily, right, over years. I can upload them, and then they'll sell my courses for me. At the time, I didn't put two and two together. This was an answer to prayer, but later I kind of realized, that was an answer to my prayer of I want a place where I can teach, do what I do best, and get paid for it. Well, that was around 2013, and I've been an instructor there ever since. And then as this ed tech world continues to grow and bubble up and explode, there are now all kinds of other marketplaces sprouting up. I can put the same courses I have in Udemy on all these other marketplaces. What that has done is it brought me back to the ebook, where nowadays I don't wake up every day and go run to my email to see how many sales I made. I just know the money's coming in. It's so natural now. It's like water flowing in every single day from all these courses that I have across many different marketplaces. So on Udemy itself, I have 46 courses, but off Udemy, I have another 8 or 10 courses that I would consider premium courses that I don't sell on Udemy because I want more money for them. That's where I'm at. I have all these courses that are generating an ongoing passive revenue there's nothing like it. It's indescribable when you can get up every day and you don't have to do anything. We just moved to Boise, and the 2 months prior to that, we were busy, man, just getting ready for everything. I did zero work. My money just kept coming in. There is nothing like that. So I'm the biggest, where before I was the biggest entrepreneur evangelist, now I'm the biggest passive income evangelist. Because while not everybody may be able to create courses or online courses, there are now, in today's 2017 internet world, there are now a variety of ways for you to build a passive income. So that's what I'm really excited about, teaching people, about showing people. And so my next, to kind of finish this thought off, my next big thing is I'm creating an online course masterclass. Basically, you're more of a publisher. You're not teaching live. You're creating a product once, and then you're selling it over and over and over again. And that's what brings you the passive income. Anyway, this mastery program is going to be a higher ticket. It's going to be offered through a funnel. And the most important thing, I think, is it's going to cover the entire world of online course publishing.
Okay.
You know, it's not just going to be about Udemy or Amazing.com or Skillshare. It's going to cover every one of those. Basically, it's going to cover everything I do to receive this massive passive income. So it's going to show you exactly how to do that for yourself.
So this is just a completely loaded question. So Dave, once you get this funnel done, where are all those customers going to come from? How are people finding you? Let's put it that way.
Right now, people are finding me on YouTube. I have over 800 YouTube videos. They're finding me through a variety of Facebook groups that are in specific niches. One of them is called The Passive Income Show, which is all about teaching online. Another one is all about a kind of a little-known Amazon t-shirt business called Merch by Amazon. That one has over 5,000 members. Another one is just selling online. It's just about the whole world of selling online. So there's those ways. But for this particular project, I'm going to be using a lot of YouTube ads and a lot of Facebook ads. This is a much higher ticket product. So now the next big thing is really mastering a webinar type funnel for this masterclass, reaching out to entrepreneurs, reaching out to people who maybe never even knew that an online course would be good for them.
Yeah, it's a whole new way to look at things, right? Anyway, I'm excited for you in all of that sense. And I get a lot of people who go, hey, yeah, we think we want to start with cold traffic. And they, they bought a course, so they're going to learn the mechanics of it. But your method of, hey, go put yourself in some marketplaces and build the following, piggybacking and getting paid to get people to just come to you anyway. You start with a rocket ship and not a Volkswagen, right? Kind of
absolutely.
To use another cliche.
And I think that comes back to more of a content marketing mindset rather than a salesman mindset. The salesman mindset is, where can I run ads and make money?
Yeah.
And the content marketing is, where can I serve people and help people? And down the road, some of those will become loyal customers.
And let's be honest, there are a lot of really good content marketers that are not great salespeople. They either don't try, or they have this overriding insecurity of, I'm not as good as Russell Brunson. I'm not as good as these big time, home run hitters. You don't have to be. You just have to be you. And it's better to find the thing that fits, because the thing that fits can propel you, just like you did it with the infomercial. And now again, you're building this momentum that just is stair-stepping over and over. And in our conversations over the years, right, like, you're re-ramping up, there's an intensity and a focus and some like, man, I've got to make this work too. Dave, you're all chill and relaxed going, yeah, it's rolling, we're killing it, we're doing really well, and here's the next big thing. And the momentum builds on the momentum, right? And so for you that are content marketers, that you're like, my blog's not making any money, this is another way to look at how you do lead acquisition, lead generation, without having to lose money and figure out cold traffic, and how to just piggyback that. I mean, you and I have had the conversation of, dude, $5 to $10 a day can double your list just with some being cool content marketing stuff. And there's so much good stuff out there, right? But obviously, I get excited about it. You can tell I get excited about it because I've been in the coaching world for so long that so many people have different personalities, and you got to play to your unique strengths. And anyway, now I'm on a soapbox about it. But when people play to their strengths, the success comes, right?
Absolutely.
And and so for those of you that you're forcing it, you're not fitting. You know what? Take a look at some of these other angles. When the cold traffic or the the funnelology that you're learning, when it comes back and there's the right spot in these other business models, it will dramatically improve your business. It may be that the thing you're starting right now, maybe that's not the place to start. Maybe it's to look at some of these other options. So,
speaking of found revenue, well, last month we launched a product, partnered with a friend who I'd launched a product with a year ago. We did about $27,000 in the first 2 weeks of that launch.
Awesome.
And
so awesome.
And here's the found revenue tip that I think I can give. And it's one of the things that took me a long time to learn. And that is, if I don't have it, I can get it. So the way this works out is, I partnered with my friend James about a year ago on a product that showed you how to publish on Amazon Video Direct, which is, you turn on your TV and you're on Amazon and you're looking at movies. Believe it or not, I'm in there. But I have some short videos, and I have an online course that I figured out how to publish on Amazon.
Yeah.
So we created a course about that, launched it to his already existing audience. See, I didn't have a really big audience in that world, and he did. So by partnering with him, and by him, he's the kind of guy who likes to put out the latest, greatest, coolest, cutting edge stuff. And this was a year ago. We launched that, made a ton of money, and kind of established kind of a baseline of our relationship, our business relationship, and how we're gonna work. Recently, I discovered a way to publish my online courses and any other type of digital product on Amazon, make it available for sale. Now, Amazon does not have a formal, hey, come in here and publish your digital products on Amazon. They're strictly a physical products business, right? You know, you sell your widgets, your iPhones, your whatever, your computers on Amazon. There is no program by Amazon to allow digital product sales. I, through a very kind of twisted, weird road that I took,
I love this.
A lot of curiosity and a lot of digging and a lot of emails to different Amazon departments, figured out a way to do it. And so I have 14 of my courses now on Amazon, available on Amazon. So in this weird, you know, kind of experimental curiosity, digging and trying to figure out this thing, I contacted James. I said, James, I got something you've got to see. And I showed it to him, and he's like, this is genius. I can't believe that you figured this out.
Yeah.
We sold it to our, now that we had established that baseline relationship, we went ahead and basically did the same deal, you know, 50-50 split and whatever, and promoted it. And in 2 weeks, we each made about 13 grand just offering this product. So what I did not have,
by the way, on top of all of your other income that was coming in passively, right? Yes, this is bonus money. Yeah, big payday bonus money. Yeah.
We bought a few things that we had, you know, been looking at and wanting and stuff.
Sweet.
So what I didn't have was I didn't have this big audience, this years and years of credibility that James had built up with his audience and in this particular internet marketing community. I did not have that. I was doing my own thing, creating my courses. You know, I didn't have the internet marketing audience.
Right.
What he didn't have was this incredible cutting edge, nobody's ever heard of it in their life opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Of course. So we married those two things together. We married my course building and kind of, you know, ethical hacking, if you want to call it that, of Amazon with his audience. So the whole point is, if you don't have it, you can find it. You can figure it out. You can partner with somebody. Don't think you're the Lone Ranger, because for so many years, that's what I saw myself as.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I saw myself as the Lone Ranger. I'm going to go do this, blah, blah, blah. And man, it's so much harder if you don't allow yourself to open yourself up to joint venturing, partnering, working with other people.
That's right.
For example, a lot of people, you know, I have several Facebook groups that have a lot of members in them. A lot of people jump into the Facebook group and just post something, right? They'll spam something. That's the short term, you know, that's the transactional thinking, right?
Yeah.
And we'll delete and block that person. They're gone for good. You know, they can't do it. Or sometimes people will ask me, hey, Dave, do you mind if I post this in your group? Or somebody will even say, hey, I'll pay you to advertise this in your group. And then I have to be the arbiter of determining, is this right for my audience or not? You know, I care about my audience. I don't want to expose them to something that might be bad or might be. So I'm very protective of that audience. But there's no reason you can't create your own Facebook group. And especially if you're in a hot topic. So here's another way that I found revenue. There's a very hot business called Merch by Amazon. I don't know if you've heard of it, Tom. Have you heard of it?
This is the first time I've heard of it today, yeah.
Okay. Merch by Amazon is a very cool business where you basically partner with Amazon in the print-on-demand T-shirt business.
Oh, okay.
Amazon has these Kornit digital printers. They're something like 250,000 each. They bought a small army of these printers. And basically, all you do in the Merch by Amazon program is you upload T-shirt designs to Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon sells, prints, ships, offers free returns, offers their legendary customer service. All you did was upload a T-shirt design. And because it's such a simple business and people are already making six figures in it, it's hot. I mean, there's so much demand for it. like I don't have the time to give it like I'd like to. Okay.
Yeah.
What I did do though is I partnered with a young guy. I didn't have the 6-figure story.
Right.
But I knew how to create a course. So that's my half of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had the 6-figure story and he didn't know how to create a course. So remember, found revenue is not something like I have to have all the skills. No, you could partner with somebody who has what you're missing or what you're lacking. Now I'm in this incredibly hot market, which we've done videos on YouTube. We've got this Facebook group that's growing like crazy. And now I'm introducing new courses to that market. I'm not the merch expert is the point.
I love this.
I'm partnering with these merch experts because that's the hot market right now that's booming.
Well, I love it because you've gone from content in a marketplace to building a following to expanding that following, using a similar formula into these other groups, to then leveraging someone else's expertise, because typically you've been the subject matter expert, right? That somebody else then markets. And now you have product, you have your own distribution that you're building, which is your Facebook groups, your lists, right? The marketplaces keep giving you, and these JVs keep feeding you new people, right? And if you've been watching this with Dave, you've seen this go from 1 to, and I don't know what the numbers are, 1 to 4 to 8 to 16. It's becoming this multiplier effect, but your sweet spot is still really this course building, whether it's you doing a course on a topic or bringing somebody in that has the topic expertise, but you're the course guy. And you know how to get it in front of your people. You know how to put it in marketplaces that go, right? And so a lot of people found revenue. They think, I need 17 upsells in my acquisition piece in my funnel. Well, no, you need to extend the product line as well. And so your people are obviously seeing these new products, but sometimes the new product is the first thing they see, and then they get exposed to all of the rest of you, right? So it goes both ways, and this momentum that you're building, has this multiplier effect. And it, you could stop it by stopping doing what you're doing, but it has this feeling of that it's unstoppable, like a river that's just going every single day. And you don't have to eat what you kill today. You can actually be in the long game and just build the right thing for the right market, be aware of what's hot. And your strength clearly is this. You like to, tweak around with, hey, what if this, and what about this working? And let's, and bringing in an expert and making that magic happen. And it's just awesome to see you blossoming and just powering down with this, man. It's so cool, right? So, well, Dave, we're at the end. Thank you very much. Any last parting words, favorite jokes, anything?
I had one last thing, and that was, if you want to get good at something, immerse yourself in it first. Learn everything you could possibly learn about it as quickly as possible. Yeah. And that gives you the foundation to move forward. So, Dave, we've known each other for many years. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for having me. You're doing awesome things, and you're not the everyman that you started out to be, that everyone trusted to buy from, but you are still that core guy that anybody who has enough, just go for it and you'll immerse yourselves. You can do great things, but luck had very little to do with it. It was you put the effort out there, you went for it, and the magic happened and continues to happen for you. And I love seeing it. It just thrills me to no end to see you have this awesome success, because you're one of the good guys in business, and we can always use good guys to pave the path like you have, and you've been a pioneer, and I appreciate it, and it's always been great to be a friend. An honor to know you, sir. So appreciate the time, and wow, those kind words. I'm gonna have to record those. Yeah, anytime, just record that. You can play it back as your ringtone, right? And go, here's the truth about me, people. If you have any doubts, if your wife's mad at you because you did something wrong, just play that. It'll buffer the Alrighty, man. You're awesome. All right. Like I said, thank you. Thanks, Tom. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Found Revenue with Tom Collins. If you thought this podcast was helpful, please leave a review. Thank you for your support. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Found Revenue. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting.